So I actually thought I was done with this topic, but I still get questions about this every single day on Instagram. Like literally people just coming in and asking me one questions concerning this whole studies topic. And I decided that, you know what? I'm just going to make a Q&A on how I made valedictorian. So you guys send me your questions on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, definitely go and follow me on Instagram so that you can send me your questions, you can look at my pictures, etc., right? But I have gathered you guys' questions, and some of the questions were, I don't even know the word to describe it. Honestly, I was not impressed. Exhibit A, Exhibit B, and I know that these were probably jokes, so I'm just going to ignore them, okay? I'm just going to ignore certain kinds of questions, and I haven't even done the intro yet. So, hi ladies and gentlemen, my name is April and you're welcome to my YouTube channel. You should check out the videos on my channel page if you like what you see, then of course subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This video is a follow-up to another video that I did, how I made valedictorian at the law school. That's the University of Ghana School of Law. So I got my LLB and I ended up graduating as the best student of my year, and somehow this thing has been haunting me now for a year because people still keep asking. So okay, now let's get into the video. So I have the questions here on my laptop and I'll just read and answer. Okay, so let's start from like the basics. What inspired you to study law? I wanted to study law. It wasn't something that was forced on me. It wasn't something that, you know, I was coerced to do or manipulated to do, not at all. But the reality is I actually wanted to study a lot of things. So if I have to select, let's say, the top 3 of my course interests, it was psychology, philosophy, and religious studies. And I was also interested in a language. So I was thinking Chinese. I'm not sure if they study Arabic at University of Ghana, but I was interested in adding a language to that. So maybe Spanish, maybe French, maybe Arabic, maybe Chinese, whatever was available. And then I also knew that, of course, there was law. My dad actually wanted me to study law. So it was also one of my considerations. And, you know, I thought about everything all in all. And I was like, you know, law is such a course. First of all, it's challenging. You know, it challenges your skills, it challenges your knowledge. I also liked reading, so that was also one of the motivations. I was curious about the law. I wanted to actually know about legal systems. I wanted to know about the laws of the country that I'm in. I wanted to know about the laws of other countries. I had no idea how they interplayed. You know, I was actually very ignorant about the whole thing. So I was curious about the study of law. Also, I knew that law was quite a broad course. So if you don't know anything about law, when you study law, you study a little bit about basically everything. It's quite, you know, diverse. And I just thought about it and I was like, why not? It's a course that I would definitely enjoy because I'm interested in law. It's a course that would embody a lot of my interests. And also after that, I would decide what I want to do. Maybe I would be a lawyer, maybe not. Maybe I would go into something else. So I actually didn't go into the study of law with the hope of becoming a lawyer. It wasn't even one of my considerations. I was just looking at something that I was interested in. So I guess short answer to the question, my interest inspired me to study law. So another question that I got is, what is the importance of studying law to someone who is first of all not interested? Okay, so it has never been my duty or my goal to convince people who are not interested in studying law to study law. Honey, the person who asked this question, if studying law is not interesting to you or it doesn't form part of your interest, don't study law, okay? Now, in my opinion, generally, every educated person has to have some knowledge of the legal system that he or she finds themselves in, right? Has to know about the laws of the country that they are in. That's just my opinion. And depending on the kind of person that you are, you can find all that by yourself. So you don't actually have to study law to read a little bit about Ghana's laws. But if you truly have no interest in studying law, I don't see why you should. After all, it is a course. If I had it my way, I would have every course have some sort of law course attached to it. So if, let's say, it's sociology, if you are studying sociology, at least there should be one topic which is based on the legal systems of Ghana, or it should be taught in junior high school. Okay, I don't know if it is, but I think it should be if it's not. That's just my opinion. The next question is, can I do a BA psychology degree and further it with law? Yes, you can do a BA psychology degree and further it with law. On this channel, if you look at my videos, you see I have a couple of videos with people who had a first degree. They are called post-first degree students, and they had a first degree before they came to study law. So from what I know, it can be any degree. So it can be a sociology degree, philosophy, psychology, you could have done nursing, whatever it is. And then with that degree, you can apply to study law. You have to check out the specific requirements of the university of your choice. So I don't have all the answers. It really depends on the university that you want to go to. It depends on the criteria and the requirements of that specific university. But yes, you can have a first degree and come to study law. Okay, was it part of your target to become the valedictorian in your law pursuit? No, it was never one of my goals. It wasn't even something I thought about at all. So from the very get-go, I just wanted to survive. I think many people who come to study law have that in mind. So I don't think people who come in their first year are thinking of getting all A's. It might just be them dreaming. But in reality, what most people are trying to do is survive, to at least get decent grades. And then if they get lucky and if they are able to get a strategy that works for them, then they are able to get better grades than they expected, which is what happened to me. So when I came to law school, I was just thinking of how to make it out of their life. There was another question where the person was asking me how I survived. I think how I passed my exams or something like that. Yeah, it's perfectly normal to be confused, to be lost, to be suffering, as we call it. And with time, you just get a grasp of it. So you get more confident as the years go by. But I wasn't even thinking about which class I'm going to get, how well I'm going to graduate, till I hit my fourth and final year. And as the fourth year was coming to an end, I knew that I was going to graduate with the first class because of my GPA. So I could determine that. But to be a valedictorian, it wasn't even in my mind. Now the question is, did you read every case and material on the reading list? I actually did. So I'm the kind of person that likes to go all out. So in the sense that I would do everything that I can. I would try to find every case. I would try to find every reading material. Now, if after trying I fail, then so be it. But I would definitely try. So now, did I read every case fully? No. I was not able to read every case fully, but I did find every case or a case brief of every case, depending on the level that I was at. So as I grew older, I already knew what I was about. I wasn't necessarily reading full cases, I was just skim reading, going through materials, but I definitely tried to find every reading material and every case. And what really helped me was skim reading, because you don't have time. I skim read a lot. I was quick at finding materials. Like, my research skills are pretty good, so I was able to research quickly, whether it's finding things in the library, whether it's using the internet, whether it's asking specific people, whether it's speaking to lecturers. So I cut a lot of time in finding stuff. And once I got the stuff, I didn't waste any time. Quickly, I find what I need and I move forward. We don't have any time to waste. Did you ever fail an exam in law school, and how did you take it? I don't think if you fail a law exam and you take a resit, you would be able to graduate as a valedictorian. Unless maybe you didn't have a lot of competition. Because once you fail, right, and you do a resit, your GPA is significantly impacted. So the probability of you getting, let's say, straight A's, right, and then failing just that one course that you resit, and then be able to graduate with a first class and as a valedictorian is quite low. It's almost impossible to get straight A's in law school. Like, it's almost impossible. I had a lot of A's, but I didn't have straight A's. And no, I didn't fail any exam. My lowest was a C+, and I had a C+ just once in 4 years. Next question, how did you handle consistency? So I think there are certain qualities that come with someone's personality, and also there are certain qualities which can be learned. So a quality like discipline is natural for me. Of course, it depends on what's going on with my life, but I try as much as possible to control my life to the highest extent to get what I want out of it. So if my goal is to survive law school, I'm going to try my best to put everything in place to survive law school. That is to do the best that I can. Doesn't necessarily mean graduating with a first class. It doesn't necessarily mean graduating as a valedictorian, but it does mean that you should try your best, right? I had my own benchmarks that I had to meet. I wasn't competing with anyone. I wasn't thinking of anyone. I was just thinking about myself and looking at my GPA and looking at my grades and thinking, you know what? I'll need to improve here. I'll need to improve there. That was sort of my thing. And when I say that personality plays an important role here, it's really important because I'm not a laid back kind of person. I am quite an anxious person. I worry a lot. I'm always worried that I'm going to fail an exam. I'm always worried that I'm going to fail a test. I'm very anxious. And that kind of fear, it pushes me. Like, I remember throughout the whole 4 years of my studies in law school, I was scared that I was going to fail an exam. I was scared that I was going to fail a test. And that fear fueled my consistency. My consistency is based on the kind of person that I am. It's not really something that I learned. Although I do think that people can learn these kinds of things, but it's hard for me to give any advice because it really just depends on the person. Okay, did you ever solve past questions or ever have doubts about yourself? These are two different questions that the person puts in one question. Did I ever solve past questions? Yes, I did. Past questions were my go-to. I solved past questions. I solved tutorial questions. They were really, really helpful. But again, these kinds of questions, I have kind of answered them in my other videos. So just make sure to watch my other videos. Did I ever have doubts about myself? Well, that's the thing. I'm not really someone who doubts myself. I'm just someone who is scared of what's going to happen. So it's not really about my self-confidence or my self-esteem or my belief in myself. I am not really that kind of person. Like, I don't really care about those kinds of things, I suppose. Like when people say, you know, what inspires you, what motivates you. I don't really care about this stuff. Like, if I'm in school, I have to study and I have to try my best to do well, right? I'm not saying that other things are not important, like networking, like having fun. They're all very important, but it shouldn't be to the detriment of your grades. That's what I personally believe. Yeah, but no, I didn't really have doubts about myself. I mean, in the beginning, I was not sure what I was doing, but to say I had doubts about myself, no. I would say I was scared for what would happen. I was scared for the grade I'll get. I was scared for my GPA. I was scared about what's going to happen in the future, but I wasn't doubting myself, no. Is it okay to just use one device like a phone for studies in general? Personally, I wouldn't advise that. But to be fair, I know people who study just on a tablet. I know people who study just on a laptop. I personally don't know anyone who only use the phone for studies. I do think it's possible, but I don't think it's comfortable or convenient. And it definitely isn't the most efficient. I personally use my phone and my laptop together. So they kind of went hand in hand. And for me, it worked out perfectly fine. But again, it depends on the kind of person that you are. If using just your phone for studies is very comfortable for you and it gives you the results that you want to see, then why not? Okay, what's the average time for studies? All right, so again, this depends on the person and what they have going on. I try to study every day, at least for 2 hours. And of course, I wasn't able to do it every day. Some days I would have fun. Some days were dedicated solely to my extracurricular stuff that I was doing, whether it was law related or it was not law related. I was also in a relationship. So, you know, going out, hanging out, watching movies, traveling, whatever. So it really just depended on the day, but I would make up for a day that I missed studying. So if today I didn't study at all, tomorrow I'll try to make sure that I get some extra hours of study. And I'll also answer this question. No, I did not study during vacations, but I did intern during vacations. Not all my internships were law related, but I was always doing something that required me to think. But I did not actually sit down and, read cases or answer questions during the vacation. No, I rested during vacations, I traveled during vacations, and I interned during vacations. So I worked. This question as well: do you study at night? I actually did not study at night. So unless it was right before exams, like maybe I could study till, let's say, 1 a.m. I think my cap would be like 1 a.m. That would be like my cap. And that is like critical. Like we are talking about exam week. But before that, no, I never studied at night actually. I would go to bed at about 11 p.m. or midnight. Yeah, but I'm not a nighttime studier. So the thing is, I really need to be active during the day. Like I need to be able to listen to the lecture. I need to be able to process information. And I went to the library in the daytime. Sometimes in between lectures, sometimes after lectures, I'll go to the library and leave the library at like 9 p.m., 8 p.m. That was kind of like my schedule. Sometimes I studied in my room, but that was actually quite rare. I did a lot of studying in the library. So how do you prepare your studying timetable? Okay, I never actually had a physical, like I never actually drafted a timetable on my laptop or on my phone. I really didn't. I just had it in my mind that, tomorrow, let me study this and that, because yesterday I studied that and that. So I alternated it, and honestly, I was just going with the flow. So I didn't have like a rigid sort of structure, but what I was studying and for how many hours, let's say I'll study this, for how many hours I'll study that, it just varied. So I would evaluate it on the day. So honestly, I didn't have like a strict timetable. I was just going with the flow. How do you effectively memorize your stuff? I did give some tips for memorization in one of my other videos. Please just make sure to watch my other study related videos before you ask, because it becomes redundant for me to answer questions which have already been answered. So I did talk about this in one of my other videos, and I actually gave, I think, 2 or 3 tips on how to memorize information, but I might make a whole separate video on that because there is quite a lot of detail that I might not have covered, and it's difficult for me to just answer this kind of question in this video. And same applies to a question like, how do you prepare for exams or study tips? I covered that in my other videos, so check them out. And if you still have questions, then you can leave a comment and I'll reply. So like I said, I can't cover every question. Some of them also require quite a bit of an elaboration, but let me just take a final question, which is quite a general one. Why do you think is the ideal reason why people don't get good grades at school? So this is just my opinion. I think people are different, and I think some people are just not very good with the whole school system. I know quite a number of these people myself, and some of them are really close to me. So they are not very good academically, but they are very intelligent people. So it just varies, and there are also some people who just don't try. There are some people who just don't care. There are some people who just don't try or don't try their best. There are some people who decide to focus on other stuff instead of grades. So wrong priorities, that sort of thing. And I think that if you want to do well with your grades, with your studies, you have to figure out the kind of person that you are, what your weaknesses are, and how you can solve those weaknesses. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any question, drop it in the comments below. If you have any comments, just general observation, whatever, again, drop it in the comments below. And if you like this kind of video, give it a thumbs up. And also, if you have a video recommendation, by the way, tell me, because I record every video recommendation that I get, and I'll definitely be posting them as time goes on. So just stick with me and you'll see the videos that you want to see. Thank you once again for watching this video, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.